Anti-racism protests are being held in major cities across the country today. Demonstrators are calling for police forces to be defunded and for money to be reinvested into local communities instead. In Toronto, dozens are marching to support Black and Indigenous people, and CBC's Chris Glover is on the scene and has this report.
These protesters are marching along a very busy Toronto street. Their fists held high. They're holding signs that are calling for justice and justice now. Many of them are also saying things like abolish the police. And their main message today is to defund the police. This is a rally in Toronto, but these sorts of rallies are going on across the country today in Montreal, Moncton, Halifax, and many other cities as well. They are being led by Black and Indigenous groups, and they say that that is very important to helping to get the change that they are calling for. Here's what some of the protesters told me about why they wanted to come to this rally today.
We want here to support Black Lives Matter because they have been historically more unjustly treated by society, similar to First Nations people. But in order to achieve the goal of justice, racial justice, we need to ensure that Black Lives Matter, the people of color, Black, gets the first shot to justice, because they have been enduring for so long.
Another thing that a lot of these protesters have told me is that they are seeking justice for Regis. Now, Regis Gorczynski-Paquette is the 29-year-old woman who fell to her death from her Toronto balcony after police had responded to her home to help. Now, this week we learned that the 5 police officers who were there at her home that day have all been cleared by the police watchdog in Ontario for any wrongdoing. And many of these protesters have told me that they want to have that decision appealed, and they will not rest until they get justice for Regis. And of course, this is just one of many of the demands that we are hearing from groups like this today, right across this country. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
And Montreal also held a similar rally today. At the end of that protest, some people pulled down a statue of Canada's first Prime Minister. Our Sarah Levitt is there. So, Sarah, what can you tell us at this point?
Well, you know, Natasha, this happened, as you said, at the very end of the Defund the Police protest. And what we know happened here is that people actually put banners around the statue so that people couldn't see exactly what was going on. Rope was wound around the statue, and then they pulled it down, and when it hit the ground, the head fell off. Now, this statue has been controversial in Montreal, and other statues like it of Sir John A. Macdonald have been controversial because people say it represents Canada's colonial and racist past. So for weeks and actually years, this statue itself here in Montreal has been the target of vandalism. You can see that there has been some graffiti on it, and that's often the case. And so the protesters here today felt it was important to tear down the statue because of what Sir John A. Macdonald represents. Now, police say that nobody was arrested when this happened. So far, no arrests have been made, and as you can see, the protesters have left the scene. But this statue also the focus of a petition to have it taken down earlier this year. About 9,000 people signed that petition, but as you can see, here since 1895, now taken down. Also, Natasha, I just want to point out that there are people here right now from the city of Montreal. They're assessing the damage. Unsure, they wouldn't speak to us, but it seems they're seeing how they can handle whether or not they take the statue away or they put it back up.
Okay, CBC Sarah Levitt in Montreal. Thank you, Sarah.